The smartest person you know is probably underachieving. They possess a towering intellect, yet their life is a museum of half-finished projects, brilliant ideas that live only in notebooks, and a lingering sense of unmet potential. You're about to learn the one trait that research shows predicts your net worth more accurately than your IQ. This trait is a muscle you can train, a system you can build, starting today. And the reason you need to know this now is that your daily routines are already shaping this part of you, likely in the exact opposite direction of wealth. The trait is called conscientiousness. For the better part of a century, our culture has been fixated on intelligence as the ultimate key to a successful life. In 1921, a Stanford psychologist named Lewis Terman launched one of the most ambitious studies in history. He scoured California for its brightest children, identifying over 1,500 with genius-level IQs above 140. He nicknamed them his termites. Terman followed these children for the rest of their lives, convinced he was documenting the origin stories of the next generation of world leaders, Nobel laureates, and titans of industry. On the surface, the group succeeded. They became doctors, lawyers, judges, and professors at rates 20 to 30 times higher than the general population. Their incomes were, on average, much higher. But a deep sense of disappointment ran through Terman's later work. He had expected transcendent greatness. What he got was comfortable, conventional success. Crucially, none of his termites won a Nobel Prize. In a staggering twist of irony, two boys who were tested for his study, William Shockley and Luis Alvarez, were rejected because their IQs were deemed too low. Both went on to win the Nobel Prize in physics. The truly exceptional figures had slipped through his net. Decades later, researchers inherited Terman's mountain of data and used modern statistical tools to re-examine it. They split the termites into three groups. The A group were the most successful, the C group were the least successful, and the rest were in the middle. When they looked for what separated the A's from the C's, the answer was clear. The key was their personality. The most successful geniuses were distinguished by higher scores on one specific trait: conscientiousness. This is the psychological term for being organized, responsible, diligent, and planful. It's a quiet, unglamorous trait that gets very little airtime in a world that celebrates disruptive ideas and natural talent. Think of your raw intelligence, your IQ, as the horsepower of a car's engine. It represents raw potential. A high IQ is a Ferrari engine, capable of incredible speed. Conscientiousness is the entire rest of the car and the driver combined. It's the chassis, the transmission, the navigation system, and the person who actually performs the oil changes. It's the driver who shows up on time every single day and is willing to drive through the long, boring stretches of desert to reach the destination. A Ferrari engine sitting on a garage floor is just a very expensive sculpture. A humble, reliable sedan that is well maintained and driven consistently will cross the continent. This trait isn't just a vague virtue. It translates into concrete wealth-building behaviors through mechanisms that are subtle but incredibly powerful. When you look at what conscientious people actually do with their money, you start to see the machine at work. What are these small daily actions that compound into a life of financial security, and why do they so consistently outperform brilliant but erratic strategies? The financial bedrock of conscientiousness is built from a powerful commitment to defense. These individuals excel at avoiding the thousand small financial cuts that can drain a fortune over a lifetime. They are statistically far less likely to pay late fees on bills or carry high-interest credit card debt. They achieve this because they build systems like automatic payments and calendar reminders that remove the need for fallible memory or fragile willpower. They create order. They are also more likely to methodically track their expenses. This gives them a clear, accurate map of where their money is going. This awareness is a precondition for control. You cannot optimize a system you do not understand. They plug the tiny leaks, the forgotten subscriptions, the unexamined automatic renewals, the daily coffees that add up to $1,000 a year that a less orderly person might not even notice. This diligence naturally extends to how they spend. They engage in more deliberative decision-making. That means more comparison shopping and a higher resistance to impulsive, emotionally driven purchases. They are masters of delaying gratification. This discipline is the engine of wealth creation. Every dollar they don't spend on an impulse today is a dollar that can be invested, a dollar that can go to work for them, earning returns while they sleep. This creates a personal financial system that is fundamentally anti-fragile. They aren't trying to get rich with a single high-risk bet. They are patiently, relentlessly building a fortress that can withstand unexpected job losses, medical emergencies, and market downturns. This resilience is what allows the magic of compound interest to work uninterrupted. A decent investment plan executed with unbreakable consistency for 40 years will always beat a brilliant plan that gets derailed every 5 years by a preventable financial crisis. But this brings up a deeply uncomfortable question. If this trait is so critical and it's part of your core personality, does that mean some people are just born to be better with money? What hope is there if you are, by nature, a messy, disorganized, and impulsive person? The notion of a fixed personality, a set-in-stone character you're stuck with for life, is one of the great misunderstandings of modern psychology. Personality is better understood as a verb. It's a pattern of behavior, and patterns can be changed. Long-term studies tracking individuals for decades show that personality traits are surprisingly fluid. They shift in response to new life roles, new relationships, and most importantly, new habits. The strongest counterargument here is that personality traits show high stability after age 30. This is true for population averages, but the stability of an average can hide enormous individual change. Stable is a world away from unchangeable. The drift is slow, but it is real, and you can accelerate it. You become more conscientious by acting conscientiously. The behavior precedes the belief. You don't wait for a wave of motivation to become an organized person. You start by organizing one thing: your desk, your sock drawer, your digital files. You choose one tiny, manageable domain and you impose order on it. The secret of people high in this trait is that they externalize it. They build systems in their environment so they don't have to rely on internal discipline. Their conscientiousness isn't a feeling, it's a physical reality. It's the automatic transfer to an investment account that happens the morning they get paid. It's the hook by the front door where the keys always go. It's the gym clothes laid out the night before a workout. Each environmental tweak, each automated system is a vote for a more organized self. Each vote makes the next one easier. You are not fighting your nature. You are intelligently designing the environment that shapes it. This approach can sound sterile, like a life reduced to a series of checklists and optimizations. Does this path of meticulous planning and execution truly lead to extraordinary success? Or is it just a recipe for a safe, comfortable, and ultimately unremarkable life? Where does the grand vision come from? This is where we have to dissect the trait itself. Conscientiousness is composed of two major aspects: orderliness and industriousness. Orderliness is the drive to create systems, follow rules, and maintain a tidy, predictable environment. It's the person with the color-coded calendar and the pristine desk. Industriousness, on the other hand, is the capacity for sustained, goal-directed hard work. It's diligence. It's grit. It's the obsession with finishing what you start. Many of the most impactful entrepreneurs and creators on earth exhibit a peculiar profile. They have superhuman levels of industriousness. They are relentless finishers, but their personal orderliness can be surprisingly average or even chaotic. Think of the classic image of the genius with a messy desk, or the visionary founder whose personal life is a shambles but whose company runs like clockwork. Their entire existence is organized around a single, massive goal. Their diligence is channeled with ferocious intensity. All the energy that might have gone into maintaining a tidy apartment is instead aimed at building the product or solving the equation. A high IQ can generate 100 brilliant ideas. High industriousness takes one of those ideas and drags it, kicking and screaming, through the brutal, boring, and failure-ridden reality of execution. That is the great divide. An idea for a business is worth almost nothing. The execution of that idea, the thousands of hours of unglamorous work, the relentless iteration, the gut-wrenching setbacks, is worth everything. The boring work is what compounds into an extraordinary outcome. This model explains how diligent people methodically build wealth and success. But it also illuminates a darker, more complex trap that ensnares their intelligent but stuck counterparts. Their failure isn't just about a simple lack of follow-through. A more insidious mechanism is at work. The trap for a highly intelligent person is confusing the map with the territory. They fall in love with research, with analysis, with the intricate beauty of a perfect plan. They read 5 books on investment strategy. They build a complex financial model in a spreadsheet. They debate the merits of different productivity systems. They are engaged in a sophisticated form of procrastination called intellectual entertainment. It feels like work. It provides the satisfying click of a new insight, but it produces 0 real-world results. They are endlessly sharpening the axe, but never cutting down the tree. The conscientious person, meanwhile, picks a simple, good enough plan and begins. They automate 10% of their income into a basic index fund and get on with their life. They launch the first flawed version of their product. They start the awkward new workout routine. While the genius is still refining their masterpiece of a plan, the finisher is already on the field, learning from mistakes and compounding their results. The smartest person you know isn't paralyzed by a lack of knowledge. They are paralyzed by an excess of it. Their intelligence gives them the tools to construct elegant, airtight rationalizations for inaction. It allows them to see 1,000 potential failure points, 1,000 better paths they could take if only they had a little more information. The world does not pay you for the sophistication of your plans. It pays you for what you ship. It rewards the portfolio you actually funded, the business you actually launched, the book you actually finished. The final accounting is brutally, beautifully simple. At the end of the day, which list have you built? The list of things you intended to do, or the list of things you have done? And this very same engine of relentless execution explains why some people can completely transform their physical health in 6 months, while others spend a lifetime collecting diet books, which is a different kind of uncomfortable.